Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. So yet again, update 1.25 has the return of another glitched car. Now this is the GTR Engine Swapped Lancia Delta. And just like with the Alpine, it's been nerfed, it's come back, it's returned, then it's not been as good, then it's been better. Now, I feel like this is the best version that we've probably ever had since the original kind of sheet of this one came out. So, let's get into the build. So I fully recommend this livery here by King McNico. I've always ran this one. The only thing you're going to have to do is actually take off that rear spoiler. Everything else is as it should be, really, to get this working, including the tyres and such like that, as well as the rest of the aero. So in terms of custom parts, at the front, we are going to be running obviously a wide body all around. And then on the front, it's as simple as literally just running Type B. So you'll just see it's a little bit chunkier at the front, and then on the side it's going to be Type A. It's not the standard one, and then Type A at the rear. Now where it changes a bit from the livery is actually the rear wing, which you want to put as a standard part. In terms of the actual tune itself, super simple. As you can see, we've got the GTR engine in this one, and it's quite a buggy one to get working. It took me a while to figure out what I was doing wrong, but it actually turns out it was the transmission. But as you can see, we are running the Racing Hards, fully customizable suspension with body height at 120 front and 123 rear. Anti-roll bar is going to be 4 for both. Damping ratio compression is 35 for both. Expansion is going to be 45 for both. Natural frequency is 2.00 front, and then at the rear is 2.20. Negative camber angle is 3.0 at the front, and then at the rear we have it at 3.2. Toe angle is 0, so no kind of in or out, and then at the rear it's inwards at 0.20. We're running a normal differential, so we're not going to have to tune anything on that side. This is where I kept going wrong. You actually have to run the fully customizable manual transmission. Now I have that automatically just increasing the gears to 350. In terms of ballast, it's set at 80 with a positioning of 40, so it'll be to the right hand side, not the left. No power restrictor on this one. We've got the fully customizable ECU attached. Downforce at the front is 61, and then at the rear is 55. We are running the high RPM turbocharger for this one, so much more power for this build. Anti-lag system is on and set to strong with a racing intercooler. And again, it's another one of them builds where adding parts actually makes it drop PP, which is really weird. Racing air cleaner, racing silencer, racing exhaust manifold, sports brake system, sports brake pad, so the brakes are actually a little bit better this time. None of them at the bottom really matter, but that's my personal preference. Up here, we're actually running the racing clutch and flywheel instead of the semi. And then more perma mod side, we've got the bore up, stroke up, engine balance tuning, polished ports, racing crankshaft, and then we've got weight reduction stage 1, 2, 3. Feel free to pause at any moment that you need. So kind of obvious where we're using this car. We're going to use it at Tokyo 600, so go ahead and enter that, and then you should appear here with a bunch of supercars. But don't worry about that, you're going to make absolute mincemeat of them. This car hits upwards of 230 miles per hour, and this is how I recommend running the strategy. So not much has changed. However, I did notice I was pitting a little bit earlier. That's obviously because we've got the high RPM turbocharger on this time, so fuel consumption is a little bit more. Now it's up to you how you want to run it. Personally, I would run fuel mix 1 on the straights and then lower it down to about 3. That is for the rest of the lap until you get back onto that main straight. So opening lap, I like to kind of break Tokyo up into different sections. So lap 1, 2, 4 is going to be the sort of survival stage. At this point, you're going to be absolutely all over the place. The car's not going to be great. Obviously, we're using racing dry tyres on a wet track where we should realistically be using inters, so you're not going to have much pace. It's going to feel awful, but just stick with it and honestly trust in the method. One thing to note though, a good thing about Tokyo, them awful barrier penalties, yeah, they're gone. So you know why you can. I don't know if it's intentional or not. Just take advantage of them. Yes, you may take damage, but it's never really too bad. But yeah, just take advantage of it. Don't worry if you hit the wall, you won't get a penalty now. The only way to actually really get a penalty, I believe, is sort of under yellow flags, but I don't think I've ever seen one at Tokyo, and I believe that's the only way you'll actually lose that clean race bonus as well. So yes, it might look like we're slipping down the order or just really struggling, which obviously we are. Like I said, we're on dry tyres in wet conditions. All you want to do is just kind of stick with it. Don't worry too much about the AI. You're going to absolutely make mincemeat of them anyway. They're on, I believe, normal difficulty for this. They're not on easy or anything. So they're just going to cruise around and do their own thing. Again, yes, you might drop back a few seconds on the sort of first couple of laps, but honestly, I found from about lap 2 onwards, I just had enough pace and the track was drying out quick enough for me to really feel it, quite comfortable with this car. Overall, this build feels much better than any of the previous iterations, probably up until the original version, and the original was, I believe, capable of like 23 minutes or getting in that time barrier. Now, a lot's changed since then, and it's not quite possible to get down that fast, I don't believe. You will have to do a 2-stop on this one as well, but I'll show you the kind of best times to pit. But as you can see, I have boosted the engine up to 1, and away we go. Lap 4, though, this is where it's going to really come into its own, to be honest. You're going to see your lap times absolutely drop off at this point. In terms of its 1-lap pace, by the way, this version is much faster than the previous couple of versions that we've had. To be honest, I wasn't a huge fan of that car. I know a lot of people really do like this build because obviously it's 4-wheel drive and has a ton of grip, but it just felt it was like just too much power really for the car to handle. This one, although we've kind of upped the power with the new physics, it was more reactive and more responsive, and definitely felt better in terms of that 1-lap pace. As you can see, as soon as it's starting to dry out, we're like 3 or 4 seconds up, even kind of around the halfway point of the lap, which is just absolutely insane. This car just flies through. It's completely up to you how you drive it though. At the end of lap 5, this is when you want to do your first pit stop. As you can see, we're using quite a bit more fuel than we did in the previous couple of builds. What I would recommend doing is putting another set of hard tyres on, just to ensure you've got as much grip as possible, and then you're going to fill the car to full. You are going to have to make another pit stop, and again, that's mostly based around fuel. One thing to note about this build, even when the tyres drop off, it never feels like terrible, and it doesn't really go to the point of dropping off a cliff. Obviously, you are massively helped by the 4-wheel drive system in this Lancia Delta. Absolutely insane levels of grip, no matter what your tyre life's at, which is just absolutely awesome. And even when they're kind of looking like they should really just be causing you to spin, you'll find that you're actually still putting purple sectors in, which is just, yeah, kind of really strange. I then recommend you take your second pit stop at the end of lap 9 before you get on to lap 10. We've got a nice comfy lead here. All we're going to do is again put an extra set of hard tyres on. As you can see, the tyre life has really just been majorly took a hit. The tyres really not as healthy as they were on the previous one, and then begin to fill the car up. So yeah, what you'll notice after you've kind of switched on to the other hards, the kind of first set that you take at your first pit stop, yeah, they don't last too long. As you can see, we've filled the car near to the top, and you just want to get underway now at this point. Continue as you were, fuel mix 1 and fuel mix 3. It should give you enough to basically just run it at full power on the final lap of the race. So we're going to round up the final corner here. Plenty of time to really just cruise around. We've lapped everybody at this point. Even on normal difficulty, the AI just did not stand a chance. And yeah, we're actually going quicker than our previous fastest, which you can see was on lap 7, which was actually a 156.772. So like I said, 1-lap pace in this car when it dries out is absolutely incredible. So we're going to go across the line and yeah, finish off the event nice and easy. So let's have a look how this car performed. Overall, it did a 25:29.167. Now, if you could possibly stretch it out, I actually feel this would have been faster than the Alpine, which I showed yesterday. Our fastest lap, though, is absolutely insane. On the final lap, we actually did a 155.673, which is just, yeah, incredible for this car. Much more improved than the previous builds. 825,000 in around about 25 minutes. Nice and easy. Possibly one of the quickest ways to get money currently. So yeah, whoever sent me this build, I believe it was Raddy who sent this one on. Massive thank you for fixing this car and actually massively improving it, especially compared to the last few iterations of this car that we've had. Yeah, this is honestly bringing back one of the better cars in the game to where it realistically should be. It's a huge drop as well in terms of the PP. It'll go from like 790 or something ridiculous like that all the way into the 500s, which is just incredible. And it happens by actually adding power, which was just really strange. But yeah, that's going to be it for today's video. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Turn those notifications on. Check out my Discord in the description down below, as well as go ahead and follow me on Twitter. It's much easier to get in contact with me on there if you actually want to know anything about the game or want me to check out a build of yours. So take care, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Peace!